Could it be that your comfort zone is actually the most comfortable prison you've ever known? You say you want to change, but you keep doing everything exactly the same. It hides behind rest, behind fear, behind distraction. You know that feeling like there's this huge, untapped potential sleeping inside you? That little voice whispering that you could go further, achieve more, be more? But then, boom, something holds you back, stops you from taking the next step. An invisible force, often silent, that keeps you stuck right where you are. Have you ever felt that way? If the answer is yes, stay with me for the next few seconds. Together, let's uncover the mystery behind this force called resistance, the very thing blocking your personal growth and keeping you from reaching that long-awaited spiritual awakening. Get ready to identify your inner saboteurs and finally step onto the path of your life's purpose, guided by spiritual discipline. Your journey of personal transformation starts now. Have you ever stopped to think about why, even when we deeply crave change, we keep spinning our wheels in the same place? Why that diet never gets off the ground? Why that amazing project lives only in your head? The answer often lies in a subtle yet powerful force: internal resistance. Imagine a shadow that follows you, no matter where you go. A shadow that whispers convincing excuses, offers tempting shortcuts, and lulls you into saying, "I'll start tomorrow." That shadow is resistance, and it's a master of disguise, hiding behind comfort and temporary relief. In this video, we're going to shine a light on that shadow. We'll uncover its tactics, understand how it shows up in your everyday life, and, most importantly, explore how you can start breaking free from its grip. This isn't an easy battle, but trust me, it's an incredibly rewarding journey toward your spiritual awakening and true personal growth. Maybe right now you see yourself in this struggle. Maybe you've tried to change before, only to feel the same force pulling you back. I've been there too, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, there is a way to break the cycle. A way that involves your conscious mind, spiritual discipline, and, above all, a deep understanding of how internal resistance works. Remember Carl Jung's words, "What you resist persists." And that's exactly what we're diving into today. How to stop resisting your own evolution, how to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth, and how to reconnect with your life's true purpose. Get ready for a journey of self-discovery that can transform the way you see yourself and the world around you. And to begin this deep dive into the world of resistance to growth, let's go straight to the place where it often digs its deepest roots, our old, familiar comfort zone. Think about that warm, cozy bed on a cold day. That safe, pleasant space where nothing new happens, but nothing challenges you either. That's what the comfort zone feels like. A state of inertia where we feel protected from the uncertainty and discomfort that comes with change. But just like staying in bed all day keeps you from actually living the day, staying in your comfort zone too long can trap you in a life filled with frustration and missed opportunities. You know that procrastination that stops you from starting an important project? Or that job that no longer fulfills you, but you stay in it out of fear of the unknown? Or maybe avoiding those tough, but necessary, conversations that could move you forward in your personal growth? All of that is resistance at work, keeping you stuck in the false safety of your comfort zone. In the long run, the consequences are clear. The feeling of stagnation, the frustration of not reaching your potential, the bitterness of living a life that falls short of what you truly want. You find yourself trapped in a vicious cycle, where a lack of purpose feeds inertia, and that inertia pushes you further away from your true self and your spiritual awakening. As Stephen Pressfield wisely said, resistance will prevent you from writing, rationalize procrastination, and always have an excuse to offer. Sound familiar? The good news is, breaking free from this inertia is possible, and the strategy to start might be simpler than you think. Start small. What if you challenged yourself to do just one thing differently each week? One small action that nudges you out of your comfortable routine. Maybe start that book you've been meaning to read, take a walk, or finally have that long postponed conversation. What matters most is taking that first step and celebrating each small victory. Track your progress and see how far you can go. Remember, the comfort zone isn't a physical place, it's a mental state, and it can be transformed with small doses of spiritual discipline and self-awareness. And speaking of resistance's sneakiest tricks, get ready to unmask one of its most deceptive faces. Think about those moments when, instead of tackling an important task that could help you grow, you find yourself endlessly scrolling through your social media feed. Or when anxiety hits and you reach for food even though you're not hungry, or binge-watch that Netflix series late into the night. These are modern-day addictions, the escape valves our minds turn to in order to avoid the discomfort that comes with personal development. It's crucial to understand that these habits and distractions, as pleasurable as they might feel in the moment, aren't the root problem. They're actually symptoms of something deeper. Internal resistance holding you back from facing more meaningful issues, from pursuing your life's purpose, and from walking the path toward your spiritual awakening. They provide quick relief, but in the long run, they only distance you from your goals and feed that lingering sense of stagnation. I don't know if this resonates with you, but I've seen it happen with countless people, and maybe you'll see a bit of yourself in these stories. People with incredible potential watching their dreams fade away between one scroll and the next, or one episode after another of their favorite show. The truth is that comfortable distraction becomes a disguised saboteur, draining your energy, your time, and your motivation. So, how can we break free from this cycle? The key lies in conscious substitution. Instead of battling the habit head-on, which often leads to more anxiety, try replacing it with activities that nourish your mind and spirit. What if you swapped a few minutes on social media for a short meditation session? Or replaced impulsive snacking with a brief walk or stretch? Or, instead of one more episode, spent just a few minutes reading a book that inspires you and fuels your journey of self-discovery? Remember, resistance is clever, and it will try to convince you that you deserve this disguised rest. But stay alert. Notice those moments when you're reaching for an escape. Ask yourself, what am I trying to avoid feeling or doing right now? Bringing this awareness into the present moment is the first step to disarming one of resistance's most common and convincing masks. Self-sabotage. This is one of the most insidious forms of internal resistance because it often works beneath the surface, quietly undermining our efforts and keeping us from reaching the personal growth we long for. Self-sabotage shows up through behaviors that, paradoxically, cancel out our own progress and steer us away from our goals. Have you ever caught yourself putting everything off until the last minute, even knowing it'll lead to stress and a less than ideal outcome? Or starting a project full of enthusiasm, only to abandon it halfway through for no clear reason? These are everyday examples of how internal sabotage operates. It can take many different forms. Paralyzing perfectionism, that fear of starting something because it might not turn out perfect. Fear of success, that strange urge to back off just as you're about to achieve something big. Or that constant negative self-talk, the inner critic that chips away at your confidence and feeds your resistance to growth. To deal with self-sabotage, the first step is bringing it into conscious awareness. You need to shine a light on these behavior patterns, recognize the triggers that set them off, and call out the excuses your mind creates to keep you stuck in inertia. Practicing mindfulness, being present without judgment, can be a powerful tool in this process. Another effective strategy is cognitive reframing. That means challenging those inner critical voices, identifying the limiting beliefs behind them, and replacing them with more positive and realistic thoughts. Seeking guidance from a mentor, someone who's already walked the path of spiritual awakening and personal growth, can also provide invaluable perspective and help you uncover your blind spots. remember the profound wisdom of Joseph Campbell. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. More often than not, self-sabotage stops us from entering that cave, from facing our fears and insecurities, where our greatest potential for transformation lies. Stay alert to the traps your mind sets, because as the saying goes, the mind lies when it's afraid to grow. And to overcome this deep-rooted pattern of sabotaging ourselves, we need one essential ingredient. And that essential ingredient for neutralizing the force of resistance and self-sabotage is discipline. But before you picture something harsh or punishing, let me offer a new perspective: spiritual discipline. Unlike rigidity, this kind of discipline shows up as a gentle, yet firm, commitment to your personal growth and your life's purpose. It's not about torturing yourself with obligations, but rather about cultivating positive habits that move you forward, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Think about waking up a few minutes earlier to meditate, even on those days when all you want is to stay in bed. Or setting aside time to read an inspiring book, even when scrolling through social media sounds way more tempting. These small acts of spiritual discipline, when practiced consistently, build a solid bridge toward your spiritual awakening. Look at high-performing athletes, world-class musicians, or monks devoted to deep contemplation. Discipline is the foundation of their achievements and personal evolution. They don't rely on fleeting moments of inspiration. They commit to daily practice and continuous improvement. So how can you begin cultivating this discipline in your own life? Start with SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Create a morning routine that strengthens you, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Learn to manage the distractions that pull you away from your focus. Remember the words of James Clear: you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Discipline is about building those systems, those positive habits that keep you going, even when internal resistance tries to throw you off track. It's important to understand that motivation is like a spark. It can light you up, but it can also fade quickly. Discipline, on the other hand, is like the wood that keeps the fire burning. It's your spiritual response to act, even when you don't feel like it, because it's rooted in a clear vision of the future you want to create, not just in your present mood. And when that future vision aligns with your life's purpose, often, the intensity of our struggle against internal resistance is directly tied to the clarity of our purpose. When we don't have a clear direction, a strong why that drives us, everything feels heavier, harder. Spiritual discipline becomes a burden. Stepping out of our comfort zone feels like a meaningless sacrifice, and self-sabotage finds fertile ground in the absence of intrinsic motivation. On the other hand, when your life's purpose is aligned with your essence, with what truly moves you and makes you feel alive, even effort turns into joy. Overcoming resistance stops being a hard battle and transforms into a meaningful journey towards something greater. But how do we find this purpose? A powerful reflection to ask yourself is, what would I do even if I gained nothing in return? What activities bring me joy and make me feel connected to something beyond the material world? What causes deeply touch me and inspire me to act? The expansion of consciousness that spiritual awakening offers helps us tune into that inner voice, that compass that guides us toward our true path. Look at the lives of activists who fight for noble causes, inventors who dedicate their lives to creating innovative solutions, or people who overcame great adversity in the name of an ideal. Purpose was the driving force behind their actions, even in the face of intense resistance. It's crucial to understand that purpose is not synonymous with career or profession. It's an inner direction, a soul's calling that manifests in many different ways throughout our lives. As Krishnamurti wisely reminds us, truth is a land without paths. Your purpose is unique and personal, and the journey to find it requires self-awareness and the courage to break free from external expectations. Always remember, form must serve essence. If your life's purpose calls for authenticity, resistance will try to trap you in masks and behaviors that don't truly represent you. The search for your true why is, therefore, an act of profound personal transformation and a powerful antidote to the resistance to growth. And with this inner compass, our purpose, like a lighthouse guiding our steps, what happens when we allow ourselves to observe, with renewed attention, the unfolding of our daily lives? The invitation now is for observation. Start paying attention to the moments in your day when you feel yourself straying from the essential, when that inner voice offers you convincing excuses to procrastinate or stay stuck in inertia. Recognize the masks of resistance in your distractions and your habits. Be present to identify the patterns of self-sabotage that drain your efforts. Remember, resistance won't just disappear. It's a part of our psyche, but it can be tamed with awareness and presence. Spiritual discipline, cultivated with gentleness and purpose, is the key to navigating its waves and staying on course toward your spiritual awakening. And now, I ask you, what small step will you take today toward your personal growth? What tiny action can you take to start breaking through the barriers of resistance and reconnecting with your life's purpose? Personal transformation begins with a single step, a conscious decision to not give in to inertia. And always remember, resistance will keep trying, but today, you've learned how to overcome it. If these words resonated with you, I invite you to take the next step on this journey of self-discovery. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue this path of spiritual growth with us. Leave a comment sharing your experiences with the science of intuition and how it has been a guide for your own awakening. Let's grow together, not just in mind, but in heart. And if you want to dive deeper into this process, check out our video, Is Flow the Secret to Success?, which will help you understand more about how reality manifests. Peace and light.